Why don't we get to Bondi?
Yeah, so this was an extraordinary development. Trump posted something on Truth Social that appeared to be intended as a DM. I'm curious what you think about this. We can put this up on the screen. And it's a sort of, direct pressure on Pam Bondi over the prosecutions of his political opponents that he wants to see go forward. So he posted, Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time, all talk, no action, nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. Then we almost put in a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past, a woke rhino who was never going to do his job. That's why 2 of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. He even lied to the media and said he quit and that we had no case. No, I fired him, and there is a great case and many layers, and legal pundits said so. Lindsay is a really good lawyer. This is the person he's replacing this other prosecutor he's complaining about with, and likes you a lot. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times, exclamation point, over nothing, all caps. Justice must be served now. President DJT. So, the thought is that this was meant to be sent privately. I don't know if it was or not, or if this was, like an accident intentionally onto the main Truth Social. It is wild if this is like how he sends messages, because it's in the exact same cadence as his public posts with the weird capitalizations and the overhyping and the exclamation points or whatever. But the more important point here is, what is he talking about? There was in particular an effort to charge Letitia James, who is the Attorney General in New York, who Trump hates because she went after him for his overinflating of his real estate assets and lying about his net worth and blah, 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 in order to secure loans at favorable rates. So he's mad at her for going after him in this prosecution. There were threats made directly to her from Ed Martin, telling her she should just resign her position as a gesture of goodwill. She, of course, did not do that. And so instead, they were trying to get her on alleged mortgage fraud, with the allegation being that she had presented 2 separate residences as her primary residence, when in reality, obviously, only one of your things can be a primary residence. Without going into all of the details, there was no there. There was one paper that was filed that was incorrect, but then she wrote back and said, no, this isn't my primary residence, just to be clear. So there was nothing that they could charge. This is also a tactic that they've used multiple times. This is the same thing that they tried to do with the Fed board, one of the governors on the Fed board, who they tried to push out under the same very sketchy, we're going to claim you did mortgage fraud thing. And there was one other that I'm blanking on that they tried to do the same thing. It's all coming from the same guy within the Trump administration who's trying to go after these opponents. So this prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia, very important court, handles a lot of the national security, high profile terrorism cases. It's right across the river here in Alexandria. This prosecutor was like, I can't, there's no there. I'm not going to charge a case where there is nothing to be charged. And so he's being pushed out, and now Trump is exerting this pressure on Pam Bondi of you need to make up something against these people. Historically, there was always a separation and an attempt to make sure there was an appearance of total separation between the president and the DOJ. So there's a sense, at least, that there's neutral justice and it's not being politicized. That obviously with this president is completely out the window.
Yeah, I think what has happened with the mortgage one is with Lisa Cook in particular and Letitia James.
Yeah.
It's just obviously a pretext. I mean, whatever.
They're doing the same thing with Schiff too.
Right.
That's the
Schiff.
other
That's
one.
what his mortgage.
Yep.
Yeah. But is mortgage fraud that common? That's one thing I kind of learned from The Wire season 1 is that apparently mortgage fraud is practiced by a lot of people. But my major question around this with the pretext for Lisa Cook and all of that is how do they expect that to stand up in court if you're going to use it against 3 separate obvious political opponents and say that it is in no way, quote, not a political persecution. That's why I was like, come on, are we not getting more creative here in terms of mortgage fraud? It's one of those where what you have watched this happen is it's the same Jeff Sessions. I was just looking it up. July of 2017 is the first time Trump attacks Jeff Sessions when he's mad at him for recusing himself on the Russia investigation. We're exact same playbook here, with what's happening with Pam Bondi is if you don't do, Trump genuinely believes the DOJ is like his personal lawyer. Like that's his view as basically from day one with Jeff Sessions. Well, with Bondi and all of them, because they actually have to bring a case against them, they're sometimes like, yeah, we can't do this because we'll lose in court, or double jeopardy or something like that, would we to take it to trial. And he just will not accept that. And so that's the fundamental tension. Why anybody who took the AG job, idiot, in my opinion. Like, why you would ever want to be the AG for Donald Trump after what happened with Sessions, and then the next, I don't even remember his name, before Bill Maher, the actor, Whitaker,
Bill Maher.
That was his name.
Bill,
no, Whitaker.
Bill Barr.
Bill Barr. Yeah, not Bill,
Bill
Maher.
That would be interesting.
That would be a disaster. Yeah.
Well, and just so you know, your point is an interesting one, because I was thinking about this with Bondi, right? Like, Bondi is a longtime Trump sycophant. She let him out of some charges on Trump University or whatever. Like, she knows where her bread is buttered. She's there because he knows she's going to do whatever it is that, you know, he wants her to do, as long as she can figure out a way to do it, which she just can't even figure out how to do in this instance. But it's not like she's being beloved by the MAGA base. She's also like a scapegoat for, when she came out and said that thing last week about like free speech and hate speech are two different things. And there were a bunch of people on the right who were like, look at Pam Bondi and how could she do this? Candace was saying stuff. I don't know who else, but a bunch of people on the right were upset about that. Trump says the same, like, this obviously came from Trump, right? This comes directly from Trump. Trump says the same shit. They don't get upset with him. She takes all the incoming on any sort of like free speech stuff that they're unhappy with. So you get to be in this like position of being under Trump's thumb and just being a sycophant and having to go out there and do like basically humiliation rituals routinely. And then it's not like you're even getting love from the MAGA base, because they hate you too, and they feel like you messed up the Epstein thing, even though you're doing that for Trump's bidding. They feel like you're, you know, they don't like what you said on hate speech, whatever. So it doesn't seem like a great gig in my personal view.
Yeah,
and
why would it be? It's like you're either the whipping boy for his idiocy, or you're the whipping boy for not acting on his idiocy. So
exactly.
This is a terrible job.
Exactly. Yeah. And one last thing just about this person that, you know, was forced out, who was the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, and that Trump is talking about here. It's not like this guy was some lib. He was a former D.C. police officer, joined the Eastern District of Virginia back in 2010, was nominated for the role by Trump this year. So this was like the guy Trump put in literally this year. But since he wouldn't gin up some fake charges against Letitia James, he's being, you know, he was forced out. The new person they're putting in is a senior White House aide, Lindsay Halligan. Apparently has no experience really in this realm of law whatsoever. I think she was like insurance law or something like that coming into, but I guess they feel confident that she'll be the one that will make up these charges and figure it out in the way that Trump wants to. So we will see. But just one more quite extraordinary instance of the way Trump approaches government, his weaponization of government, just making it abundantly explicit that he wants to use the DOJ to find some way to criminalize his political opponents. And we have to say, like, if this was any other president and this came, you know, and this is out there in the public record, he posted it himself, there would be talk of impeachment, right? This would be a huge, huge national scandal. And it's getting media coverage. It is a scandal, but with Trump, it's like there's so many other things going on that, you know, by next week we'll be talking about something else.
Yeah, that's true. It's look, he's broken that since 2017. He's always hated his attorney generals, which, you know, what does he say? Like, my generals, my lawyers. Like, that's the kind of language that he uses here. I do think it is interesting that even Bondi and them are not bringing cases, just to show you. I mean,
how weak
they'll bring
are.
a case against the sandwich guy and lose and get humiliated in court. So just to, you know, it's not exactly like these people aren't willing to go the extra mile. So I think that's probably a lesson. That's usually what ends up happening with Trump. But no, I mean, look, it's crazy. There's no getting around it. It's nuts. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.